Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about when will I get over my ex?
Hopefully soon.
You know, when you're going through that breakup, it's like time feels like it's at a standstill.
Yeah, it feels so slow.
Hours feel like days. Days feel like months. Months feel like decades.
Decades feel like light years.
It's brutal. You know, I can remember like sitting on the bed after a breakup, and it's like you're just kind of like in this dissociated state where you're just like, I can't believe this is happening. You're in shock, and you're just like, it's like, what happens with that time? It just kind of feels like, what is happening here? And, you know, when you're going through it for so long, sometimes people are like, you know, it's been 3 weeks already. It's been 3 months already. I'm like, listen.
It's not a long time.
Yeah, that's not rough. I mean, yeah, I've seen people struggling with their breakup for years, and it's understandable. And a lot of that is tied to your attachment issues and what happened in your childhood. So we're going to talk about this today because we're starting a new year. Everybody gets that idea of, I'm going to be the perfect new me in 2026.
Yeah.
That'll be the new year.
Yeah.
Right?
I'll be over it by then for sure.
And people are in the gym for the first 3 weeks.
And then never again.
And then never again.
So yeah, as the new year approaches, many of you might hope for yourselves that you'd be further along in healing at that point, or you just wonder at what point will it stop hurting as bad. And so it makes sense if you're going through a breakup to have these thoughts.
Yep.
Grief changes over time. That's undoubtedly what happens. However, what you do in that time is also important and can impact how grief influences you. So you have to think about that too, because if you are just depending on time to pass to feel better, you might feel a little bit better now that there's like time distance between the breakup and where you are now. But if you're able to work through your attachment issues, if you're able to think about, you know, where this pain is stemming from, if you're able to work on relationship skills and improve yourself and see progress, it's going to feel a lot more hopeful.
Yep. You have to put words to it. Margaret was always saying you have to put words to it. You have to talk about it. That's why therapy works. It really helps our brain process things. You know, that's why we did the workbooks and the creative healing course, because you're putting words to that trauma and, you know, the issues that you dealt with, not just with the breakup, but in your childhood. You're learning the skills to replace those negative behaviors or behaviors that were causing problems or issues. The more you put words to it, the more you're going to heal. So you got to do your best to find ways to deal with your unconscious, your conscious, and it will help you heal. It will help you grow.
And finding ways to soothe yourself through it, right? Because grief, it's something that there's no cure for, just like there's no cure for anxiety or depression. It's experiences that humans have, and we learn how to cope with at this point, just in, you know, science and where we're at. So you do grow stronger, though, through grief, and that's through putting in work. That is in expanding your view of yourself, that is in taking care of yourself, that is in learning how to soothe yourself and comfort yourself through that grief.
Yep.
So it's painful. There's no denying that it's painful, and we have to be able to take care of ourselves as we go through it. Sometimes there can be a pressure to feel better by a certain point, or to be moved on by a certain point.
People will say things to you like, you're not over it?
Oh, you're still talking about that?
Didn't you just break up like a whole week ago?
People will really be like that sometimes.
Clueless.
Yeah. So it does take time to work through and process loss. And we're talking about a breakup. We are talking about loss of a relationship. It can feel like grief. It is a form of grief.
And you'll notice that it's your avoidant friends and family that are more likely like, you guys only dated for 12 years. You broke up like 3 weeks ago. Are you done?
How are you still on that?
I can't believe I forgot that guy's name.
Yeah, right? Oh, you should forget about them too.
So you're going to notice that people that are more avoidant are going to be more likely to be like, unsupportive of what you're going through.
Yeah. And you know what? You yourself might be exhausted from going through this. You yourself might be exhausted about thinking about them, about hurting. You might want to move on. There might be that part of you that wants to be able to have some normalcy in your day to day and not have yourself thinking about or obsessing over your ex all the time. So
It's exhausting. You feel like almost like you're a hostage to yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I want to stop thinking about it. I want to stop looking at their social media. I want to be able to eat again.
Yep. Yep. And we found that if you're able to be honest with yourself as to where you are at with your grieving and with processing the breakup, that can be really helpful. And if you're just observant of your progress over time, sometimes we forget what it was like in that first week after the breakup, and we think that we haven't moved on at all. But, if you are able to take care of yourself a little bit better, that is progress, and focusing on that progress can help. Sometimes we resist so much, just the fact that we're still not over our ex. We think we should be. Oh, I need to stop thinking about this. Oh, I'm obsessing again. We start to beat ourselves up. We get into this cycle of, how am I not over this? Oh, I'm pathetic for not being over this. There's something wrong with me for being stuck on this. I should be over it by now. And that just keeps us in a loop that ends up hurting us more.
Yeah, I had a client today. You know who this is? She's working really, really hard on herself. And she's doing the creative healing course. She's been doing it for over a year. And she still struggles sometimes. Like recently, she went to a restaurant in his town because she was with her family. And she was like, boy, I really felt it. I really felt it out of nowhere. I hadn't been feeling like that in a while, but it came back up for her. And she's like, I decided just to sit with it. And she did. And she had booked a coaching with me. She knew she had a coaching with me coming up. She's like, I felt so much better just knowing that we were going to talk about it next week.
Yeah. And with the concept of just sitting with your emotions, it can be as simple as, I'm having a harder day today than typically, or I'm noticing my thoughts are obsessing around this specific part of the breakup, or I'm feeling like I'm in a low mood.
Yep.
But then also having that string of hope that says, this is still my life and I can still own my life. I can still feel torn up about the breakup today, and I can still make decisions moving forward. For some of my clients, even just doing an activity for 30 minutes that they can focus their full attention on without thinking about their ex, just that is progress.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, your brain just keeps bringing you back. It sucks you right back. It's very difficult to break that cycle.
Yeah.
But that's why we're trying to say, focus on the healing and the growing and things like that, instead of what your ex is doing and pulling up their social media.
Right. And sometimes we suffer because we think about our future suffering, right? We're like, man, I'm never going to be over this. Am I going to, be, I don't know, older and still thinking about this situation? Is this going to prevent me from falling in love again? We can really get into our heads with this sometimes. And really what we see is things do get better with time, things do get better with hope, and things do tend to get better if you stop resisting. If you're able to say, this is where I'm at today, and I can still make steps to move forward.
Yeah, work through it and process the best that you can. The more you process, talk about it, put words to it, the more you're going to heal from it and feel better.
Yeah, yep. And some of you are plagued with those thoughts of, is this going to be on my mind every day for the rest of my life? Is this going to follow me to the grave? And instead of thinking like this impending doom or having this feeling of impending doom, I want you to think about, what are you capable of? A lot of times we lose sight of who we are, our sense of self through a breakup. We forget about the things that we do want to do and what we are capable of, even while we might be grieving, even through that. So yeah, what if you do think about that person every day for the rest of your life, but you're able to accomplish so many other things, but you're still able to fall in love and create boundaries with that ex and be able to have, whatever it is that you're looking for in relationships. Maybe there's still a piece of grief too, So thinking different ways to conceptualize that grief. I also want to add, for those of you who are still struggling with a breakup after a long period of time, after a year, after several years, we talk about this sometimes. This can be pointing to attachment issues, abandonment issues that might have happened in your childhood, trauma, abuse, mistreatment that you faced. Sometimes they can be echoes of, pains from childhood. So if you find that that's you, the workbooks are great, the course is great. Finding a therapist that can work with you through those issues.
Did a lot of hard work putting this together, the course and the workbooks, believe me. Because we want you to have something to focus on, something positive to focus on each day instead of something that you can't control, like when are they going to come back. And it also allows you to be prepared to get in front of them and reattract them, which is what you ultimately are hoping to do. But if that doesn't happen, it all works out for you anyway, because personal growth makes you feel better. You get stronger emotionally. You're not so devastated by things that you can't control, and you feel empowered inside. So that's why I'm a big believer in personal growth, and especially around a breakup, because that's when people are often the most motivated, right?
Yeah. So this year, instead of asking yourself, is this going to be the year that I finally move on? Think about all the things you do want to accomplish in the year. Think about what you are capable of, because I assure you it's probably more than you think.
Absolutely. So keep working hard every day. Do your best to process it and heal. Don't try to avoid it. It can keep you stuck if you do. And just understand that everybody's going to go at their own speed based on their own particular breakup and that person that they were attached to, right? Because sometimes we break up with somebody and we're fine 3 hours later.
Yeah.
Sometimes we break up with somebody and we're devastated 3 years later. You're like, I'm still not over this particular situation. And there are some people that are struggling with that. And I really do empathize with them, because it's not fun and it's not easy to talk about. I had a guy that I did a coaching with just yesterday. His breakup was, I feel like it was 2 years ago, and he's still having a hard time moving on. And he's like, I'm embarrassed. He's like, I'm embarrassed because, I don't like to talk to anybody else about this other than you, because I know you're not going to judge me. And even though I feel kind of silly and stupid talking about it all this time later, I don't judge him. I know what that feels like. And I do everything that I can to help him process, talk about it, and feel better. Because I don't want anybody to hurting over a breakup like that.
Right. And sometimes, when somebody is still processing a breakup that long after, a lot of times working through it leads to a really great transformation in their life.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I want you to be aware of that. If you're struggling and you find that, man, it's been a long time and I'm still stressing about this, it makes me hopeful. I'm a hopeful, optimistic person. And, a lot of times we do see that kind of growth, that once you get it, once you are able to, soothe yourself in that way and think differently about things, it can really lead to a lot of progress. So.
And of course, we're here to help you along that journey. If you want to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, scraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom coaching. Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom coaching.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name at the top of the website to schedule with her. That's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.